Today I'm going to show everyone how to sharpen this Kinfolk's Wedge Straight Razor. I've got a little history about this. This belonged to my late brother-in-law, and it was his father's. This straight razor was produced between 1929 and 1935. Two cousins started the Kinfolk Company. Their name was Case. That was prior to the Case Knife Company being formed. I'm going to show you how we're going to get it sharper on these Arkansas stones that were sent to me from Natural Whetstones in Arkansas. I can't thank Sean and his son enough for what they've sent me. And I can attest it will be sharper than the whetstones I used in the past. The knife I sharpened last night, the crate, I put it under the jeweler's loop. It was a much finer edge than this, and I'll show you what this was sharpened with about 12 years ago before I put it in the drawer. I had the Norton 1000 stone to set the edge. Then I went with the Norton 4000 and 8000 stone, and I have a 12,000 grit polishing stone. And here's the box. It just says mined in China. It doesn't have a name brand on it. But I looked at the edge on this razor compared to the knife, and it was finer. I'll give you a little history of how I got started sharpening knives. This is an India stone. I've had this since the late 70s. I built the box myself for it. This is a genuine Arkansas stone. I've had this since about 78 or 79, and it is a great little stone. I used them for years, and then I wanted a little faster system, so I went with the Lansky system. And still use the stones, but I used this for about 20 years. Up until this past Christmas when I bought the Worksharp Precision Elite, and then a few months ago bought the Worksharp Guided System. They're great systems. Some of the steels today are much harder than they were in the past. So there's different ways to sharpen and still get your same results. A little history on this blade. It is carbon steel, carbon chromium steel was mined in Sweden. So there's a little history about this, and I cleaned it up, and actually it really looks good considering how old it is. And there's no such thing as a coincidence, but ironically I was at the local gun store yesterday, and the local country music radio store was having giveaways, and you can see I've got a Case hat. And something else they gave me, which I thought was very appropriate. I handed them a bearded sharpener card. I said, you found the perfect person to give these items to. Now we're going to get in the process of sharpening this. Now before we start, in case anybody noticed, I've got a new little helper today. Perfect to hold my business card. He doesn't have much to say, but he does a really good job. Now we're going to start on this. We're going to start with the medium stone. Get the oil down here. We're going to take it all the way back down to this, because actually, as I said, I noticed it wasn't as refined as what I did the Crate Tactical Knife yesterday. Always be careful with this different process with razors. You lay them flat, which gives you the perfect angle. That's how they were designed. Take your time. This is a very delicate edge on these. These were designed to cut facial hair. And if you can believe, at one time I had a job that required me to be clean shaven, and I actually used this. I thought it cleaned up awful nice considering it was so much older than I was. Just let the weight of a razor do the work. Now, let's see, where'd my little cloths go? Here we go. I like these little microfiber cloths. You can feel the burr in it, and I've already got one already on that. So now we're going to go back to this side. I try to keep the strokes even, but that's not the most important thing. If you don't catch that little burr on it, you're just chasing your tail, because you'll never get it sharp. I think a couple more strokes I'll be where I want on this one. It's just one of those things, you take your time and you take experience and you learn to get where you want to go. So I think that was enough with the medium stone. So we're going to run over here to the fine stone. And I just sent Sean an email and I told him, after all these years with the stone, the ultra fine and the extra fine, I have obtained the finest edge I ever have in the past 45 years using his stones. So I highly recommend you giving him a call and see what all he has. He has a multitude of stuff. And I like enduring several steps of the process, use my little jeweler's loop, because sometimes there's little defects in the blade that the human eye would not see unless it's magnified. I have contacted the company trying to see if they won't send me a magnifier microscope that will hook up to the computer so I can show everybody the image. We'll see if they respond. And I'll tell you something else about this razor. Back in the late 50s and early 60s and such, every time I'd get a haircut, the barber used one of these to trim around my ears and my neck. I was a hairy little fella back then, and you see I am today. And one thing about sharpening them like this, for me, it's relaxing. It takes a lot of stress out of stuff. We all have stress in life, just different levels. So you gotta have a light touch, but actually this is easier than a knife because you don't have to worry about holding the bevel because it's already set for you with the knife. Well, we're gonna move this one over to the side because I think we're finished with this one. Now we're gonna go over to the extra fine, and still got some oil from yesterday, but we're gonna put just a little bit more on it. You gotta have the oil to lubricate this. Like the water stones, you have to have water. When you come to the diamond plates, they don't require any lubrication. If you do, it'll just clog them up. But, you know, there's more than one way to sharpen something. And as I said, some of the new super steels they have, it takes diamonds to get them sharp. But what I have found out with the crates, with the D2 tool steel or the Microtech M390, if I put them on the diamond, get them sharp, then when I move them to the Arkansas, they're much sharper. I just couldn't help myself with my new double edge last night after the video, and it is sharper than it was when I picked it up. And of course I showed one of the owners at Crate the black carbon fiber before I put it on this yesterday. He said, I believe it is sharper. I said, that's cause I worked on it. He said, I've heard all about you. I said, well, great. I said, you have a great product, and I want to do everything I can to make sure y'all sell plenty of them. Notice it's real quiet. barbers when I was a kid holding their razors on this type stone because I don't believe they had water stones back then. They may have, but I was a little young, so I don't really remember. I think we got it good on this one. So we're going to move over to the ultra fine. Clear it off of it. As you can see, that oil goes a long way. I've sharpened several since I got this system in, and I haven't used half of that oil. You just don't really need a lot, and the coarser the stone is, you can see it'll sit on top of it. It won't penetrate like the real coarse stones will. Don't even hear this one. Now that I've got the edge, I'm going to make a couple of strokes in the backward direction like I do on the strops, just to knock the little burrs off. Okay, we got that good. I'm going to wipe this off with a little rubbing alcohol so I don't get any oil on my strop. I didn't do that yesterday. I just had left it out before I brought it in. I just don't like to contaminate anything. And as you can see, there's metal here. It's a little black. You can see where it took the metal off. And it looks like a pretty fine edge on it. So now we're going to put it on this strop, which is a little bit different than the ones I've been using. This comes from Knives Plus in Texas, which I really like. This one was a Huxtable strop. It's buffalo, but I put my own chromium oxide paste that came from a straight razor place about 12 years ago. This is going to see just what we got here. not sure what the grit on this was. They have it in here already preloaded, but I believe this is just a little bit finer. This knocks any burrs off, plus it also polishes the edge of this blade. And there's no formula about how many strokes you need to make. You just kind of gotta go by feel and experience. And actually this blade was not butchered too bad. When I first encountered it, it was butchered kind of bad, but I've been able to take a lot of the defects out of it. These were made to shave your face or around the back of your neck. They weren't meant to cut barbed wire or rope or anything else. It's a real delicate edge on it. Like I say, the key is patience, which is something I don't have a whole lot of, but this does help me with it. Set this one to the side. Now we're going to put it on this unfinished buffalo strop from Huxtall's. real smooth leather. I just like to finish them up this way. I've got a hanging strop, and actually I just soon use this as use the hanging strop. Now we're going to zoom in just a little close so you can see how fine this edge is. And I've got a couple of Dovo razors and I'm going to show you that I sharpened with my water stones so you can just compare the edges. Now I want everybody to see, this is the kinfolks that we just finished, and I've looked at it with the jeweler's loupe, and I can attest it is finer than the Dovo razor that I use. This was made in Germany. I bought it about 2010. They've been making them well over 100 years. It's a carbon steel blade. This is my Dovo stainless steel. I bought it about the same time, and like I say, they know what they're doing on these blades. And you can look at them, they're very fine, but after close inspection, this one is a finer edge. Now we're going to have the final comments. Now I believe I've shown everyone what it takes to sharpen up a straight razor. If it is in really bad shape, it may take a little longer than this one. I wanted to go through 4 different stones on here just to show you a process on this one. Like I say, this was made between 29 and 35, and these are 2 I used to trim up around my beard, and when I cut my hair, I shave all around my ears and the back of my neck with these 2 razors. They only closest shave you'll ever get. I'm just fortunate I don't have to have a clean face anymore because I really like my beard. Like and subscribe. We'll have more for you next time.